Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today on Winsight Live. Walmart reported its third quarter earnings this morning. Same store sales in the US up by 6%. Grocery in the mid to high single digits. Their comp number consisted of a basket increase of 24% and traffic down 14.2%. 79% growth in e-commerce in the US helped to kind of make up really all of that comp number for Walmart. And they've gotten some questions about the grocery strength versus competitors who are a little bit higher than that mid-single digit comp. But, as Walmart will remind you, their price gap has grown throughout the pandemic. They made good moves during the quarter to extend the hours again. Who knows if that's going back again? Executives during the call talked about beginnings of more hoarding activity, at least in certain pockets of the country, as we continue to deal with the coronavirus. That's the news from Walmart. I also wanted to point out up at Winsight Grocery Now, my colleague Christina Peters did a terrific interview with Ryan Redner, the young CEO of Redner's Markets, the Pennsylvania-based chain. It's got 44 grocery stores in Pennsylvania and Delaware, I think maybe a couple in Maryland. And just a great snapshot of how the pandemic sort of interrupted everything. Redner's would have been celebrating their 50th, had big plans to celebrate their 50th birthday this year. They're in the middle of a really dramatic change in their store format from what would be called the warehouse format in the 70s to a kind of a fresh market format. And so Ryan gave a terrific interview with Christina. I urge you all to go check it out, Bill. You too.
I will. I happen to love Redner's. I think Redner's has done a great job. And also, John, I don't know whether everybody has seen this, but, Newsweek, I really have a problem when magazines like Consumer Reports comes out and names the top supermarket. Because what they do is they really, survey all their members. But, if somebody lives in Southern California, how can they rate Wegmans? And so I always think that's lopsided. But Newsweek just came out with their annual report. They've named Publix as the top supermarket for customer service. And what they do, which I really like, is they use the Net Promoter Score. So it's not based on a survey of people who can't go to certain supermarkets. So check it out in Newsweek. And also, I just found out Sally Eccles, or Sally Smithwick now, sorry, just gave me a story this morning that made me laugh. And I don't know if you guys are going to laugh or not, but Waffle House has licensed their image and their name to a beer. And I don't know how many of you have ever been to a Waffle House. And again, we don't have them in Southern California. Sally grew up in Georgia. She now lives in Nashville, so she's very familiar with Waffle House. And typically her dad used to say that Waffle House is where you went and you had secondhand smoke and everybody stunk from beer. So I guess there's some relationship here. But this beer called Bacon and Kegs is not sold at Waffle House. It's just sold at this Akani Brewery, which is a restaurant, but actually it tastes like bacon. So it's a red beer that tastes like bacon. And the thing that made me laugh is that they're promoting it to consume with breakfast. So what do you guys think? Hit or a miss here?
We're seeing a lot of great beers come out with, retail partnerships now. I don't even know if we talked about it on this show, but BrewDog, the Swedish brewer that's got U.S. headquarters in Columbus, they got into a Twitter war with Aldi in the UK over a beer that BrewDog said was copying theirs. And they wound up having kind of, this kind of thing that you see on Twitter with the brands kind of pretending to be people and getting together. Turns out BrewDog's got a new beer. It's called Ald IPA, ALD IPA. Exclusively in the Aldi stores in the UK. And it's also supporting a charity for them. So there's a lot of cool stuff like that. Giant Carlisle in Pennsylvania has done a series of special beers, in partnership with local breweries. It helps to, one, give them a different product and helps burnish their image as a local purveyor. Beers become such a creative canvas for retailers and brands to partner with.
I agree with that. I think that's cool. But a bacon flavored beer?
Got to have a hook, Phil. Everything's you got to stand out. There's the other thing is there's like 10 billion beers out there now, and the variety is just staggering. You're gonna need to have something different. So bacon, why not?
Jen, bring us back to reality. Give us the 411 on fresh.
Yeah. Well, meat is big, so I don't know, maybe bacon, and bacon was so huge a few years ago. I sort of feel like that's out, but I guess we'll see. Add it to beer and maybe that's a match made in heaven. So each year we work with IRI and their Fresh Center of Excellence to create our fresh food handbook report, which just looks at the entire perimeter. And I've been doing this, working with Jonna Parker, who's a principal with IRI, for a number of years on this annual handbook. And it was really interesting this year, just how much things have changed. And she said, it's impossible to look at 2020 and not think that, not see that the pandemic changed absolutely everything. I mean, especially when it comes to the fresh perimeter. I mean, you have things like, salad and soup and pizza, which used to be the mainstays of the prepared, deli area, sales all down. Meanwhile, sales of crab, lobster, potato wedges are like through the roof, kind of this combination of indulgent special occasion foods when people weren't going out to restaurants, and then comfort foods like potato wedges and prepared pasta salads. Another interesting thing is that, produce has been ahead every year since I've been doing this with IRI, leading the sales for the perimeter. And this year, meat outpaced produce. And in fact, from the beginning of the pandemic through early September, meat sales were up over 30%, which added an additional 8.9 billion in sales to the meat department. So just, the perimeter's been turned on its head as a result of the pandemic. Interesting. So check it out. It's on winsightgrocerybusiness.com, and all the fresh departments are covered in the annual report.
Yeah, and what's also interesting to me is IRI, and I'm going to be a little critical here, and I apologize because I know that they're a great partner, but they put out yesterday or the day before, something as premium and super premium foods doing so great. I think it was 1.7% increase. They didn't talk about the increases of store brands and regular products. So actually I called up Nielsen to get those numbers and found that store brands are up 8%. So what's the big deal about super premium being up 1.7%? And they went on and on about talking about how during the pandemic, people are just now rewarding themselves by buying all these super premium products. But it's not up nearly as much as private label. So, whenever we look at numbers, we really need to look at the holistic side of everything that's going on in the supermarket, not just take a little wedge out and see what's going on. So Pat, what's going on with limited time offers in restaurants these days?
Well, Technomic takes a look at what's happening around the world and what some of the US chains are doing in other countries. And sometimes restaurants here get inspiration from those ideas. So some of the limited time offers that they recently reported on, one was Burger King in Indonesia that combined two really on-trend items, fried chicken and mac and cheese. And they coat the fried chicken in cheese sauce and then put these crunchy cheese bits around it, kind of like Cheez-Its. And this has been a really popular LTO or limited time offer in Indonesia. And then
and they have no plans of bringing it here, I hope.
Well, sometimes they do.
Yeah.
one that Subway did, I could see this coming to the US. They deconstructed their meatball sub into a bowl. And it's like a small bowl to go. It's called a meatball maza pot. So it's more like a snack-sized bowl, but bowls are so big now.
Yeah.
And I can see that coming to the US. So that's a little more mainstream. But
Yeah, I would agree.
one of the funniest ones is, I don't know if anyone's ever had durian, the Asian fruit that smells really bad.
No,
Anyway.
I don't eat food that smells really bad. There's something about that that just doesn't work for me.
I mean, Asians love it, but anytime, you know, you see one in an Asian market and Americans look at it, they find it really repulsive. But Domino's in Malaysia introduced like a molten durian cake that's kind of like a molten chocolate cake, but it has a durian filling. So that's very popular in Malaysia.
So Brett, let's stay on the food service trail for a second. What's going on food service wise in C-stores?
So in terms of what's happening, you know, I say it every time we're on here, but you know, delivery, mobile ordering, all that stuff. But recently, and so what I want to talk about right now is how consumers are rating different convenience store brands in terms of their food. So Technomic, Winsight's sister research firm, puts out every quarter its consumer brand ratings. So it essentially surveys customers on their food visits to restaurants, supermarkets, convenience stores, every sector really. And so I just took some recent data and broke down the convenience store sector. And in terms of, you know, overall food quality, beverage quality, taste, visual appeal, portion size, everything. Those were the factors that were discussed here. And in terms of the top food, 55% of C-store consumers said that they thought that the food at Royal Farms thought it was above satisfactory, so in the very good section, and that outpaced any other brand. So Royal Farms took tops there, but really GetGo and specifically Rickers, which they recently acquired, was like in the top 2 or 3 for all of these divisions. And so GetGo, obviously in the Giant Eagle division that, you know, its food service kind of mingles with its grocery section. That's really interesting news that GetGo and getting food from the same supplying source as Giant Eagle really took most of the top honors with C-store consumers for food.
Yeah, that's interesting. But, you know, I guess, Brett, my question is, you know, in the rating, you had mentioned above satisfactory.
Yeah.
That to me doesn't say excellent. It says
above
satisfactory.
So I maybe not above satisfactory is the right word. I mean, the rating was, so for, you know, for example, with Royal Farms, when 55% of consumers, you know, rated it as it was either good or very good, and that outpaced the rest. So I would say good or very good is pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, good and very good is better than above satisfactory. I'm just wordsmithing here.
Not above satisfactory would be incorrect here. So that rating is called like the top 2 box ratings. So
Got
it's basically like who coined this as the best of the best. So 55% of consumers said Royal Farms food service program in Q3 was the best, and that 55% was the highest out of any chain survey.
Got it. Okay, so Jackson, about 5-6 years ago, I was invited to go to the Panasonic lab or technical center or innovative center, call it whatever you will, in Secaucus, New Jersey. And one of the things they showed me that I was really impressed with, it wasn't fine-tuned yet. But they were working on it. But the idea that they could use the doors on refrigerated and frozen cases as a display screen. Give me an update of what's going on with that, because, you know, as you've written, it looks like that technology is here to stay.
Yeah, and it's another above satisfactory item coming from GetGo. It's well, so recently this company, Cooler Screens, that essentially turns cooler doors into a marketing apparatus. They just got over $80 million in funding, and GetGo is piloting their program in 5 of their stores. So this is a really meaningful step toward starting to break down those lines between what the online shopping experience is like and what the brick and mortar shopping experience is like. And this isn't the only move in this direction that GetGo has made either. Since last year, GetGo has been working on installing technology from Grab and Go, which is another frictionless checkout system. So, I mean, just imagine walking into one of these 5 pilot stores that has all of this technology, and you could potentially, depending on how you've signed up beforehand, just walk in and grab whatever items that you're looking for without really going through a typical checkout process. You go in front of these cooler doors, and right when you walk in front of them, they'll give you an advertisement for, let's say it's a hot day, you might get an advertisement for a cool Mountain Dew or something like that. And so it really does kind of mimic the experience that you have shopping online, except you're walking through a physical store. So I'm definitely going to be watching GetGo very closely to see how these moves work out for them, and how consumers start to react to these technologies, and to see if they expand at all.
So Jackson, again, Panasonic now owns Hussmann, the refrigerated cases, which is why they were experimenting with this. One of the things that they wanted to do, and I don't know if this technology does that, but when you walked up to a cooler door, it would actually be able to identify you, not as an individual, but it would say, here's a guy with gray hair, or I guess you could say white hair, and it would target what that offering was based on my demographic. Does this do that too, or it's not that advanced?
To a degree, I don't know how advanced it gets, but it does take some quick identifying factors, and it has the capability to give you advertisements based on that. Now, again, I don't know how in-depth that gets, and of course there are concerns about privacy. But any press release or any announcement that you read from Cooler Screens takes great pains to say that they don't save this data, it's not sent anywhere. It's essentially just taken in and immediately put to use, and not stored away anywhere. Of course, having cameras staring at you from your cooler service might not make everybody comfortable, but
Right.
I myself have gotten used to having an Amazon Alexa device in my home that I said I was never going to get, so that we could program Christmas lights. So, sometimes these worries go out the window.
Exactly. When there's a consumer benefit to it. Also, by the way, don't forget, for our viewers, give us comments on Facebook. And in fact, Bill Gerlach was nice enough to say one, and I'm going to have to lean in here to be able to see it. But durian is known as the king of the tropical fruits in Malaysia. The stinkier, the better. So the flavored variety is Musang King. So thanks, Bill, for that update. And let's get back to some of our stories. And also, again, feel free to add comments, and we will answer your questions live right here. And where are we? I lost my section. Okay, so Jen, we're talking about technology, which brings us back to Amazon, the leader of technology. And when we take a look at what's going on with Amazon buying 14% of Spartan-Nash, rolling out the Amazon Fresh stores, everything that's going on there, give us an update.
So Amazon Fresh just opened its 3rd location in Southern California, in Northridge. Plan Grocery says that they've got about another 6 in Southern California, and wrote a story on Amazon Fresh expansion. And as you said, their partnership with Spartan-Nash is really, we've talked about before that we suspected that was, a way to accelerate their growth. And Scott Mushkin, who's an analyst with R5 Capital, wrote an interesting research report on this partnership. And he's saying, Amazon really has its pedal to the metal. According to their analysis, it looks like they see Amazon opening 2,000 stores in the next few years. And they're estimating that about 750 of those would be Whole Foods locations. Whole Foods currently has 500, but I mean, they've been opening multiple stores each month for a while now. And there's sort of another, Scott was saying that in this research report that there's another like 150 stores that are kind of undesignated right now. So if those are all designated to be, if those are all future Amazon Fresh stores, then, look out. But interesting to see how this Spartan-Nash relationship is going to accelerate that. And, it doesn't stop there. I just filed a story this morning because, on Amazon Pharmacy, Amazon.com just launched today, Amazon Pharmacy. So they're offering free 2-day delivery for Prime members. They're also offering a savings program for if you don't have insurance on prescription medications. They believe that, this Prime members will have access to this. They believe that that will save Prime members anywhere from 80% off of generic medications or 40% off of brand name medications. They also recently, Amazon launched Key by Amazon so that they can now deliver all of your packages inside your garage with, keyless entry. It's just, they're taking over a lot of areas.
Yeah, and back to what Jackson said about the device that I have. I can't name it because it'll start going crazy, that I have on my desk here and I have at home and so on. I mean, they're a smart company, and they want to own grocery. There's no question about it with everything that they're doing. Just another note on the pharmacy. We got a note from Jane Kahn. And will be interesting with Amazon's launch of Amazon Pharmacy today to see how the food as medicine trend can be leveraged as Amazon expands its health and wellness footprint. Excellent point, Jane. That certainly, the tie-in between Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon Food could be real interesting to watch, where as they gather information, and back to the point of privacy that was brought up earlier, that we see that you are on diabetes medication or whatever kind of medication it is, for them to be able to offer you, whether it's online or in store, some foods that could help with that ailment as well. So that could be a real interesting space to watch as Amazon gets involved with that. Thanks for that comment, Jane. And with that, Jen, it's time to wrap up. So give us some good news.
So it's more good Thanksgiving, ahead of Thanksgiving news. Last time we talked about Aldi's double gift card. And this time we're talking about Southeastern grocers. They're giving away over 8,000 frozen turkeys to families in need throughout the Southeast. And they work a lot with, Feeding America. So this is a great Thanksgiving expressing gratitude.
Yeah, and I think it's real smart, Jen, because also what we've heard is, people are not going to have these big dinners. The average turkey is about 22 pounds. People are looking for smaller turkeys, which typically are going to be fresh turkeys that are 12 to 14 pounds. They're also going to be more expensive than frozen turkeys. And one of the things that I've been saying is look for after Thanksgiving Day sales of frozen turkeys, because there's not going to be a lot of people who buy these 22-pound frozen turkeys. So I think for Southeastern grocers, it's wonderful news that they're donating them. And also I think it's really a smart move on their part as well. So with that, thank you all for joining us today. Don't forget, Winsight Grocery business, restaurant business, CSP, Supermarket Guru. All of our past episodes are there for your viewing. And also, we're changing up our format a little bit. We're not going to be doing Tuesdays and Thursdays till probably after the first of the year. We're just going to be doing Tuesdays. So we will see you back here next Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. And until then, have a great week.